SHMACKEMAGOB, everybody. It's Kiss Wednesday. And I pulled the trigger, man. I got me this. The off the Soundboard Des Moines. Now, if some of you know, the great J-Man got me the Tokyo one, the first one, and the third one from Donington. And I wrote J-Man and said, J-Man, I'm going to buy this, you know. I could have probably gotten it free, I'm not sure, but, you know. I said, you know what, man, this is a 70s, 77 no less, Kiss Alive 2 tour, and this is like, you know, when I got into Kiss. And I said, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger. You know, also there's a part of me, you know, I mean, I know a lot of you, and even me, I'm guilty of, I'm not giving up, no, not even one more penny to Gene and Paul, blah, blah, blah. And, but then I thought, you know what, I am going to give them money just for me to say, look, this is what I'll buy. Now you're releasing stuff I will buy, you know. And I also pulled the trigger on Creatures of the Night. But it's something that I love and I will buy. So I'm going to review this. I sat down and I listened to it twice. I absolutely love this. You know, I would say it's the best one out of all of them so far. Though I never heard two and don't intend to listen to the second one, that Scab Kiss. Even though I have that Rock the Nation DVD thing, which I understand is the same crap. Minus a song or two. But it's... And I know this sounds wrong, and it sounds, but me, man, listening to this, I heard it last night, and I got it today, and I'm recording this on Saturday, by the way, so I got it on the day it released, and it's raw, you know, it's not, you know, I mean, and the band is loose, and it's so organic sounding, and you know, where the Tommy Thayer and the Cheater Chris one sounds a little too precise. You know, I like the rawness of original Kiss, and this album really does capture what I love about the original Kiss lineup. Why it is my favorite lineup, you know. And starting it off with "I Stole Your Love," ripping. Now, I do notice there's a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? You know, like a little bit of a muffly sound. Because you got to remember, what is this? 45 years already since this was recorded. But let me tell you, I mean, even though it's a little muffly, not enough to annoy me. It's fine. But as I always say, I don't like 100% albums as much as touched up albums, so I mean, I'll be playing Kiss Alive 2 and Kiss Alive 1 way more than this, like I've always have, but I am going to throw this on. Hey, I threw on the Tokyo one not too long ago, and I really do enjoy that Tokyo show with Ace and Cheater Chris, but I enjoy this one more, and "I Stole Your Love" comes right out the gate. It just sounds awesome, you know? The performance-wise, the band, you know, that raw texture on it, badass. And then it goes into "King of the Nighttime World," which, yeah, I mean, I may be a Kiss dork, but I'm not so Kiss dorky that I knew they were playing "King of the Nighttime World" on the Kiss Alive 2 tour, because, you know, Love Gun has, I believe, "Take Me" is the second track. So it was a pleasant surprise that they threw that in the set list. And it was great. What's next? "Ladies' Room," and already Paul starts with his annoying little stage banter, which I can't stand. I mean, yes, it is better than what he did later on with his 501 jeans and making out with himself and stuff like that. I mean, that's pure cringe, you know. That stuff Chris Jericho likes. And after all, Chris Jericho is pure cringe too. But, you know, I mean, the thing about "Ladies' Room," and I was listening to it, and I've always noticed this about "Ladies' Room," but listening today, man, it's like, man, those bass runs that Gene Simmons does on that song is so awesome. It's kind of McCartney-esque, and I know some of you will be like, how dare you, Gene Simmons ain't a good bass player. I've seen that so much. They don't pay attention. You don't really pay attention. I know Gene did dumb down his bass a lot after the Kiss Alive album, but on this one, on Ladies Room, he does some really cool little bass things, you know, during it. And I love that song. Love the cowbell. And then Firehouse. Again, you know, I mean, it's not one of my favorites, but I love that solo that Ace does on it. That's the best part of the song for me. And, you know, the sirens and Gene blowing fire. And then the iconic Love Gun, a song I never get sick of. It rules. It's just such a great tune. And Paul doesn't do his 501 Gene's rap before that, so that's a plus. All right, that's side one. Side two starts with Let Me Go Rock and Roll, which is awesome. I love that. I mean, it's my favorite song off Kiss Alive, even though it's not my favorite Kiss song, but I think it's the best performance on Kiss Alive. But I'll tell you, man, I will surprise you what I think. I mean, after only 2 listens, what I think is the best performance on here. But it's cool. I love how they add that little jam, you know, you know, that. It's just rocking, man. Love it. And then it goes into Making Love. One of my favorite Ace Frehley guitar solos. I mean, he rips on this song. And I absolutely love this song. I love Making Love. You know, I would like to make love to Making Love. It's a great tune. Now, Christine 16. That one was kind of funny because Paul says, are there any 16-year-old girls in the audience tonight? You know, I mean, you can say, oh yeah, back then it wasn't cringy to say something like that. It's really, you know, off limits to say stuff like that today. Yes, I know you're probably thinking, what? What's so off limits of saying, is there any 16-year-old girls out there tonight? Do you remember what year we're in? Believe me, people get upset. People want to cancel stuff for less. But, I mean, it's cringy no matter how you do it. But, you know, but I love Christine 16. Christine 16 was kind of a, you know, I don't think that song has, I mean, I think it has aged well because I still listen to Christine 16 and like it, even though it is a little, you know, off-putting with the, when I saw you coming out of school that day, you know, shit like that. But it was way more popular back then. Kind of became forgotten. I mean, Christine 16 was just as popular as Rock and Roll All Night back then. And Shout It Out Loud, stuff like that. But still, it's cool it's on here. I dig the song. Now, the next song, Shock Me, this is my favorite so far after 2 listens. My favorite performance on here. I think it is done a little faster than the even Kiss Alive 2 version. I mean, the way Peter starts it is very fast. But man, that solo, the iconic Ace Frehley guitar solo, and also the unaccompanied guitar solo, really surprised me because I have noticed through the years, especially when they were without the makeup, Kiss Exposed, that home video, they put a really crappy version of Peter Criss doing Beth and Ace Frehley kind of fumbling on some of those classic footage. I think they did that on purpose, saying, see, we don't need these 2 guys, they're sloppy and this and that. So that's why I'm surprised they added this on here, because Ace plays great, and I think that guitar solo he does is awesome. It's really good, it's not sloppy. I mean, it's sloppy, but not, you know, sloppy where it makes them look bad to me, where some of that footage I saw on Exposed, you know, and I think Kiss My Ass, there were a few other ones. But I love it. I think that's the best one on here. It shocked me. The solo is badass. Alright, then it goes into side 4. Side 3, I Want You. The song that got me into Kiss and really got me into everything you see around me is because of I Want You. Everything. Because that's the song I heard at my friend's house. Wasn't really that into music. I was a very casual music fan. And I'm always going to like the studio version more than the Kiss Alive 2 and the version on here, but it's still heavy and raw and killer. I still like it. And I like the Kiss Alive 2 version as well. Then it goes into Calling Dr. Love, which, again, I mean, I'm not that nerdy to know stuff like this, but, I mean, I don't think Calling Dr. Love was ever that late in a set list. It's usually toward the beginning. And it's great, but what's the stupid thing Paul says? He says something stupid about Call the Doctor or something. Even dumber than what he says on Kiss Alive 2. But, you know, I mean, that's to be expected. It's Paul Stanley of Kiff and his stupid stage banters. Then Shout Out Loud, staple, sounds good. I like it. I like the backing vocals. Raw, killer. I dig it. And then God of Thunder now here again. I'm very surprised because the drum solo on here is awesome, you know? And I'm pleasantly surprised that they didn't put like, you know, oh, let's play this because Peter sounds like crap on it. So let's, you know, put a sloppy drum solo. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a precise, technically great drum solo, but that is worse for me. Because what Peter Criss does on this drum solo is very natural sounding. And he does those little, you know, little drum things. And I just love it. I love the drum solo. It's awesome. It's better than Kiss Alive 2 because it's so short. It's not as good as the Kiss Alive 1 drum solo because that one's a little more action-packed. But this one, it does have some action and it does breathe a bit. And it's, you know, it's lengthy and it's awesome. Absolutely love it. And I'm so glad that Peter Criss was on that night because that's when he started to get a little shaky. You know, in some of the performances that where it all went to crap on Dynasty. I thought on you know, because I saw like some of that footage of, you know, Texas, Houston and stuff like that. He plays way better on this. And what is it? Was it Largo that had the Kiss Alive 2? I think he plays much better on this. All right, then we go to side 4, which is Rock and Roll All Night. And yeah, I mean, your typical rock and roll. I mean, how many times have we heard this live? I can't really judge it against any other ones. And then it goes into Detroit Rock City, where Paul Stanley says, let's close our eyes and we're in Detroit Rock City. Boy. But it's great, and I love how Peter plays it. It's loose, but precise at the same time. Excuse me, it just burped. It's loose and precise at the same time. It rules. And then Beth. Yeah, that would probably be the low point on here. And I love the song Beth, but I never liked it live. I love the whole, you know, production of the Destroyer version. I've always liked that version. Where I don't think it's ever translated well live for me. And I've seen them play it 100 times. And it ends with the best song on here, Black Diamond. Great performance. I still will, it's like the second best performance on here for me. I thought it was badass. Though I still put Shock Me over it. There was something more, I don't know, it just grabbed me more. But the ending of this is raw and badass. And I gotta say, man, this is the best thing Kiss has released since, let me think. Since Lick It Up, I would say. I think this is better. You know, I know it's a live album, but again, I would put the Kiss Alive 1, Kiss Alive 2 over it. I ain't putting Kiss Alive 3 over it. And I know Kiss Alive 3 is a touched up album, but it does nothing for me. This one does. This is amazing. I highly recommend Kiss at Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines, where they say Des Moines, as somebody online said that. Hey, you notice that Paul's always pronouncing the S, even though there is an S in it, but I guess you don't pronounce it that way. You just pronounce it Des Moines, where he pronounced it Des Moines over and over again. But it's awesome. It's and I bought the black vinyl because I prefer black, man. I like my vinyl like I like my Sabbath. And I mean, if color vinyl is the only option, I don't mind it, and I don't mind color vinyl. But if I had that option, I'd go with black vinyl. And I could be wrong. Maybe it was the vinyl, the color vinyl was a couple bucks more. I'm glad I'm into black vinyl. I save a couple bucks. Anyway, that's it. That's my review of this off the soundboard. What's coming next? Let's see when it comes to the next off the soundboard. So, everybody, thank you for watching. And if you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And please subscribe to my channel if you have not. So, stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gobba.